Hi, y'all. This is Kristen Chenoweth.
Hi, I'm Gloria Stefan.
This is Sarah Bareilles.
Hi, I'm Patty Lapone.
This is Lin-Manuel Miranda. You're listening to the Broadway Podcast Network.
Welcome to another episode of the Theater Podcast, intimate personal conversations with theater's biggest names. I am your host, Alan Seals.
And I am your... I forgot what it was. I'm your producer, Jillian Hockman.
Wow. And I thought I needed a nap.
It's going well.
This episode is with Sarah Stiles, who is currently starring in Tootsie The Musical on Broadway. One of the best musicals out there, of course, nominated for the Tony Award for Best Musical in 2019. And she got a nomination for her role as Sandy Lester in the musical as well. She's just phenomenal. She has this patter song. You haven't seen it yet.
I have not seen the show yet.
She has a patter song to end all patter songs.
Yeah.
And it comes back several times as a recurring theme in the show.
You know what? I saw her perform it at Broadway Con.
Oh,
I remember this.
Oh my goodness. It is so good.
Yeah, I remember it being really just like, how did she learn that?
Yeah, she talks about that in the episode, how nervous she was the first time she had to perform it. But she's also very busy in terms of filming as well. She is in Billions, season 4 on Showtime. She's in Get Shorty, season 3, which just wrapped. That's on Epix. And that just goes to show you, she tells these stories that having great relationships in the industry pays off because she has either been rehearsing or performing in Tootsie while leaving the state to go film other things. Or, while she was out of town with Chicago, with the out of town with Tootsie, they flew her back to New York to do Billions.
So kids, make friends wherever you go because you never know who's going to be a fan of the TV show you're on.
Yeah. On Get Shorty, for those who have seen it, they know, there's lots of nudity in Get Shorty, her included, and we actually get into that a little bit. When we were talking about that, she was like, well, it's not the first time I did a nude scene, and she reminded me that the first time she actually did anything like that was in another Showtime show called I'm Dying Up Here. And I just thought it was funny. She mentioned that she watched it. She made her mom watch it.
With her. Which is just baller right there.
Right. Made her mom watch it because she was so proud of it. And I think that takes some confidence.
It does. And if you're going to do scenes like that and you're going to show off your acting abilities in every different scenario, why not? Why not be proud of your art and what you do?
It's interesting that, we were talking about it. She said that it's... her and like Sarah Stiles herself is not like that. She would be uncomfortable, but as a character, as each of these characters, it makes total sense. It progresses the story. It's not gratuitous, and like it's part of what the character does.
Yeah,
so
if the person would be doing it anyway, it fits in. Whereas she also mentions if the character wouldn't do something like that, it would be really awkward, it'd be really weird. Like she wouldn't be able to do it with Sandy in Tootsie because Sandy is a neurotic, crazy lady who wouldn't think that way.
Right. Well, everybody, before we get into the episode, please visit us at ttp.fm. Yeah, that's right. We got a short domain to point to the long one.
Less typing, more listening.
ttp.fm. And as always, ttp.fm/Patreon to show your support for those of you who are at the $5 tier or higher. You got notification that we were going to interview Sarah and incorporated some of the questions into the session here. So please visit us there. Subscribe, rate, share with your friends, etc., etc. All that stuff we always say. Now, please enjoy this episode with Sarah Stiles.
Here you go. 1, 2, 3.
This two-time Tony nominee made her Broadway debut in 2003, stepping into the roles of Kate Monster and Lucy the Slut in Avenue Q. She's been involved in other shows and national tours such as the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee, On a Clear Day You Can See Forever, Into the Woods at Shakespeare in the Park, and Hand to God. Now starring as Sandy Lester in Tootsie the Musical, Sarah Stiles, welcome to the Theater Podcast.
Oh, it's so nice to be here. But you kind of got one of the facts wrong.
I did?
Yeah, dude.
What?
Well, my Broadway debut was Spelling Bee.
No kidding.
My Broadway debut is going on for...
Hold on.
Do you need to re-record it?
No.
We should just talk about it.
No,
right?
I want to.
Is that one of the facts that's wrong?
IBDB.com.
Yeah.
Sarah Stiles. So we're pulling this up here.
Uh-huh. Because you don't believe me. That's what's happening right now.
Avenue Q is listed 2003 to 2000. Oh, I read it wrong. You went in 07.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
That'll teach me to be totally wasted when I do my research.
Right? Oh, man. Never again. No, I went on for, who was first? Sarah Salzberg for the matinee and Celia at night. That was my Broadway debut.
Really?
On a Sunday, matinee and evening with no put-ins. It was pretty
Did you
awesome.
at least have costumes?
No, I used theirs.
Really?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
How long was the show open at that point?
Kate Weatherhead was the cover for them, and she went off to do Sarah Plain and Tall, and so they had me in as like a vacation swing, not really thinking I was going to go on because I was there for like a month, and I went on a ton.
Wow.
Yeah, because those ladies got sick. It was allergy season. They were out a lot, but it was amazing and then I booked the tour right from that.
Yeah,
they came. Like Bill Finn came and saw the evening show, and he apparently called the stage manager the next day and goes, "When's that Sally Shrugs going back on?" Because he knew it was an SS. He was so close, but yet so far away.
Sally Shrugs.
So still people from that company call me Sally Shrugs sometimes.
That should be like your alter ego.
I know. It sounds like a cute cartoon, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, like if you have too much
Sally
to drink.
Shrugs.
Yeah.
We'll write a whole cartoon with her. She's a little insecure. She's just starting out. She's very excited, wide-eyed.
Have you ever done VO like that?
Yeah, dude, I did one today. I'm on Sunny Day. Yeah.
Did you really?
And Steven Universe. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay. I'm telling you, man, don't get drunk while you're researching. I was not drunk, for the record. So let's talk about your early stuff. You were actually born in Massachusetts, but raised in New Hampshire, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me about that story.
About my birth?
Yes. Tell me how.
It is kind of a story. I come from very crunchy granola parents, and I was born at home. My parents they didn't have their own. They're very poor. They didn't have their own place. They were staying at a friend's house, and through all the pregnancy, and then I was born to a room full of hippies, to an audience.
You had like a doula and then do the natural birth?
Oh,
Not
yeah.
you, your mom.
Yeah. She was just naked, giving birth to me, and I tumbled out and ta-da. It was my first audience.
I've got two kids that are relatively little, and I went down a rabbit hole one night of watching these at-home nature births, like birth into a stream.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not
That feels like maybe a little bit unsanitary. Birthing into a stream?
It was just like, I want my baby to be into the most natural place.
Oh, man. Yeah. I feel like if that was an option, my mom probably would have done that.
I think anything's really an option.
I guess it is.
Wanted it to, but
no, there's pictures of me like hours old on the lawn. Like, they're just holding me in the grass.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cute.
I
think, I'll call it cute.
It's cute. It's a little weird, but it all adds to the story of today.
Do you think you want to do that with your kids one day?
I don't think I'm having my own kids. My boyfriend has two fabulous children, and I take care of them. But I don't think I'm having kids. Yeah.
You never know. Never say never.
I don't know. I'm kind of old, man. I had a big birthday last week.
Till those, the big 2-0?
Yeah, well, double that.
2-1?
Yeah. I'm not afraid.
You're older than me. That's right.
No, I turned 40 on Thursday.
Oh, happy late birthday.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I'm proud of it. I was working. I was in Vancouver shooting season 3 of Get Shorty, and then I took a red eye that night and to fly back so that I could make it back in for the Friday night of Tootsie.
Oh.
It was kind of awesome, though. There's something great about working a birthday, and I was doing 2 really awesome jobs on different sides of the country.
I took a red eye
in a different country.
I took a red eye back 2 weeks ago, and I still haven't recovered.
Yeah, I was a little out of it yesterday, but I feel better today.
But working 2 big jobs. I didn't know Get Shorty filmed in Vancouver.
Well, they didn't. The first season we were in Albuquerque, which was super fun because New Mexico is like beautiful. And we did lots of traveling and excursions on weekends. And then we shot in LA last season, and now we're in Vancouver. I don't know. They can't figure out where they want to be. So we keep going. Well, I'll just go wherever they are.
That's nice, though. They just fly you out?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's a nice flight from here. The direct is Cathay Pacific. So it's the flight that goes to Hong Kong. So you get like dim sum on the plane.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's kind of fabulous.
I love those types of airlines.
Yeah.
Like
you feel so baller.
Slippers and the
the
masks
all
and everything.
The lotion. You're like, I don't put lotion on my hands, but I'm gonna.
Because they gave it to me, damn it.
It's free.
So, okay. Born in Mass, raised in New Hampshire.
Uh-huh.
What was your childhood like? Where did you get into the performing and whatnot?
I did gymnastics when I was little, which, I wanted to be more performing than it actually was a sport. So I felt like, I think that was sort of my first, like, oh, people are applauding. That feels great. Let's keep doing that. And then I started doing some dance. I mean, I grew up in a very small town in New Hampshire, and there was not a lot of options for me. But my fourth grade teacher, was that fourth grade? No, fifth grade. Mrs. Grandmont thought that I would enjoy theater. And so she convinced my mother to, she circled a bunch of like ads in the paper for different summer camps. And she convinced my mom to set me up with those. And so I did, that's when I started in fifth grade. And then I just felt deeply, deeply in love. I remember there was one week called Broadway Week. And it was all like really, Give My Regards to Broadway and Hernando's Hideaway. And like we were learning all these songs. And that's where I sort of found my voice, and I was totally hooked from then on.
And how old were you then?
That was fifth grade. How old are you in fifth grade? I don't know.
8?
8? 11?
2 fingers. Jillian says you're 2
2?
fingers old.
I think you're 2. No, I don't know. 11? Yeah.
Yeah, 11 sounds about right.
Yeah. Prepubescent, right. Mind you. I think I got my period like backstage. Yeah, I actually totally did. Can we talk about this? Is this inappropriate? TMI. Get ready, y'all. Yeah, it's all of my firsts.
We're on stage.
We're on stage. Yeah.
Oh, man. I did a local production of Aladdin years ago. And it wasn't called Aladdin because they couldn't afford the rights to Aladdin.
Oh, stop it.
But I was like 22, 23 or something like that. And Jasmine was 15 or 16 and I never kissed him. I was her first kiss.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. How old were you?
I was like early 20s. I was out of college.
And she was 15?
Yeah, like 15 or 16.
I don't know. This sounds like an inappropriate story.
I mean, that's where the story ends. Because we're still friends on Facebook. So
okay, good. It worked out okay. She wasn't. God, that's hilarious. Yeah, that is weird when that happens. My first kiss was not on stage, thank God. But I've done it a lot since then.
The most awkward, I guess not awkward, enjoyable / okay, I'm kind of enjoying this moment is I was Kaniki in Greece. And there's like 3 pages of script where it's like Kaniki and Rizzo make out.
Make out, yeah.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, during whole scenes, right? Yeah. I did Grease a couple times. I did Grease with Leslie Kritzer and Andy Carl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was how crazy.
And that's a lot of groping.
Yeah.
You just kind of go with it. Anyway. So I was reading that you originally wanted to be a fashion designer or thought you could be one.
Where were you reading that?
It was on the internet.
Oh, man. I don't know who said that. I mean, listen, I love fashion. I do love clothes. I have never really wanted to do anything else but this. Maybe I said that at one point because I thought, oh, I should say I want to do something else. So if this doesn't work out, I'm not completely delusional. But yeah, so I picked fashion. That seems like another really steady. No, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I have a dream about getting some time in my life to open up so that I can take some like sewing classes. I really think it'd be fun to make my own clothes. I'd probably wind up in like crazy tutus on every red carpet, but I'd be okay with that.
Make your own stuff and
you
like start a fashion line with Bob Mackie.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I knit for a while and I would crochet and knit hats and sell them to like chorus girls.
That was like a survival job.
No, for real, like made my rent for a number of months doing that.
Yeah.
That's sort of crazy, but they had lots of bright flowers on them. And I mean,
so you're one of those people that can just knit a whole thing in like 10 minutes. I turn around and you're like, okay, here's a hat.
Yeah, I am kind of like that. Yeah. Because I don't follow patterns. So I choose really chunky yarn and just get it done quick. I don't have the patience. Like the people that can sit and like knit a sweater, I can't do that. I can't follow the pattern. I don't even know what I'm doing. I just keep going until something. I'm like, oh, that'll hold.
I have never. I've held the chopsticks. What are they called?
The chopstick needles.
Needle. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Sewing needles.
Yeah.
I've held them, and I don't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
I think it would be kind of fun to like sit on the subway and listen to my podcast.
Yeah.
And knit a little bit. But
it's very relaxing. I could teach you. We could have a session. Not right now. It might take a little longer than that.
Well, I don't have any chopsticks with me.
Yeah, you're right.
So.
You're right. So
Could you actually use chopsticks, or do you need a little hook thing on the end?
You definitely can't use chopsticks.
Or I don't know.
No, I bet you could. I don't know. Maybe. I've never tried it.
You get like MacGyver this together. Take chopsticks and a paper clip.
Okay, yeah.
With some tape.
No, you're talking about like a crochet hook.
Oh, is there a difference?
Yeah, because a knitting needle doesn't have the hook on it.
What?
I know.
You've blown my mind right now.
Oh, good. That's the first one. Let's see how many times I can do it. You're going to learn things today. Get ready.
I will. I've learned that my facts are wrong about pretty much everything that's come out of my mouth so far. What's your name?
Sally Shrugs.
Sally Shrugs.
Just call me Sally.
Sally Shrugs, yes. Okay, so let's start then with Spelling Bee. Because that was your Broadway debut.
Yes.
When did you move to New York? Spelling Bee was 2005, you said.
Oh, I don't know. I can't remember the year of that. It was a long, long time ago.
You were like, but were you in New York years before you landed the job, or what?
I got there in 2000. Yeah, because remember, we all thought that the world was going to end in 2000, and my mom was really freaked out about me being here. But I was like, I think it'll be okay, but I'll just avoid Times Square just in case. Yeah, I got there like I don't know, fall right before 2000, and I did a bunch of. My first job was a non-equity tour of Titanic. And then I booked a lot of regional stuff. And Spelling Bee, I was auditioning for Spelling Bee for like the San Francisco company, which I didn't get. But that's how I got the vacation swing because they liked me enough to just call, when they needed somebody to call me in like a few months later. Mm-hmm. So, but I'd been here a little while when that happened. That was so exciting. Your Broadway debut is so exciting.
Do you still remember where you were when you got the call?
Yeah, I was actually on tour with Tommy Tune doing Dr. Dolittle, and I had to leave. And we were like, "Oh God, how are we going to get out of this?" But they did. They let me go.
Where you were also doing puppet work.
I know. Oh my God, I totally was. Santino keeps ribbing me about all of this. I have a lot of puppets in my life. I don't know why. It's like 3, and 2 of them, some pretty graphic puppet sex.
I was going to say, yeah, puppet
Broadway.
Sex with 2 of them.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I never dreamed of holding that title. I think it's like a record. It should be.
I don't know of any other shows.
Yeah, right?
Listeners, write in feedback.
Yeah, let us know.
Theaterpodcast.com. How many puppet shows are there on Broadway, especially that have sex in them?
Yeah,
that's what I want to know.
Yeah.
So that opened in 2013.
Yeah,
or 2003.
And that was my first time like replacing. Like I was a part of that company for a year, so that felt more. That was like a bigger deal, you know. And that was pretty awesome doing that. But also kind of a weird entry because my put-in happened on a Friday, and then that the Local 1 strike happened the next day, and that lasted like 2 weeks or something, or 2.5 weeks. So that was a weird way to join that company too. But that's what happened.
But that's we talked to Ann Harada a couple weeks ago for this podcast, and she was saying that like backstage, everyone's like everyone's friendly. It's like it is like a family. Contrary to what you see on stage, it's very like nice and polite and happy backstage.
Yeah. Wait, what do you mean contrary to on stage?
Well, on stage it's all dirty and sex and internet's for porn.
Oh, you mean Avenue Q specifically?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. That was such a great company. I loved being a part of that show. I really did.
Yeah.
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 Cool, funny, weird people.
Gosh, I saw it seen it multiple times over multiple years and in different people every time. And it's just always so good. I'm so sad that it closed.
Yeah. It had a nice long run, though.
It did.
It's pretty awesome.
It did. It had a very good run.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I guess that was 05. And then the next, I guess, Shakespeare in the Park is an off-Broadway credit. Yeah?
I guess, is that technically?
It's technically off-Broadway.
Yeah.
So Into the Woods with some amazing people.
Oh my God, yeah. That was a dream. That was a dream role. Like, for real. Getting that part, I got that part. Again, kind of a weird story because they were looking for something very specific physically that I didn't match. And so they wouldn't see me for the longest time, but they had a really hard time casting it. And then my manager, who I've been with forever, my manager, Brian Leader, he just bullied them into seeing me. And finally I got in there and he was like, you need to go in with like a solid take about what you want this girl to be because it's not the typical version. So I went in with like combat boots and this little like, very goth. Like I went kind of goth and dark and a lot of heavy eyeliner and just went in like a murderer. That was my idea, was that she was like really like intense and had and maybe a little scary. So I went in with that take and the cast, Heidi, loved it at the public. And so they called me back in. It was very quick. Like they were starting rehearsals that Monday or Tuesday or something of the next week. And I went in, had a series of callbacks. Again, got another callback and say they were in rehearsal. I knew they were in rehearsal. It was 2 days in at this point. Called in again, and there were like 3 of us. And Gideon read with us, who was already cast as Jack. They were all downstairs rehearsing, and they were auditioning us upstairs. And I said it was like The Bachelor or something. I'm like, who's going to get the rose? Because basically they said, you're going to go in, Steven and James will be there along with the rest of the team, and you'll audition, and then everyone will leave, and we'll let you know who is coming back to rehearsal. I mean, that's what it was. And it was my birthday.
Wow.
And I got the rose.
You got chosen.
But I went directly into rehearsal that afternoon.
That's awesome.
Yeah. One of the first people I met was Amy. I walked up and Amy Adams is just sitting on the couch. And I'm like, oh my God. But I knew Jesse because I had done On a Clear Day. So Jesse was a buddy of mine. So that felt really good.
Right. How long did On a Clear Day run for?
Not long.
Yeah.
It was so short. It was sad. We worked on that because we did a bunch of, we did it in New York Stage and Film, and we had some workshops at the Vineyard. And I don't think it ran for more than like 2 or 3 weeks once we opened.
Wow.
Yeah.
It opened
in the winter.
In the wintertime. Yeah, I was going to say, it was like around Christmas.
Yeah, we were rehearsing all during that time. Yeah, and doing previews and stuff. Yeah.
Does that
kind of sucky?
I mean, do you see that coming, or is it kind of sting? Or you're open and you're like, the audience isn't full. What's going on?
I don't know. I mean, I think you don't want to believe that. So I think we all really thought because of Harry that we would be there for a little while, but we knew the show it just wasn't gelling. It just wasn't like that sort of magic feeling we had at New York Stage and Film. Just never. We were kind of kept waiting for it to happen, and it never really happened. And I don't know why. It was sort of sad, but there were some great things that came of it. And meeting Jesse and Jesse's like introduction to, New York. It was really cool to be there and witness that. That was cool. Yeah.
I didn't realize that was like one of her early.
That was her first.
Her
she
debut,
came right from Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So that was cool. That was definitely cool.
Yeah, you guys, like the casts, the people. I see like one of the through lines of interviewing people is that I equate this to sort of, it's not trauma, but I sort of think it like an intense emotional experience.
Yeah.
When you are with somebody, with people and with them day in and day out.
Yeah.
And experience these emotional highs and lows, especially like we're opening a show and it's closing.
I know.
And then you bond with them in a way that I guess most people never have the opportunity to experience.
Yeah, I wrote this whole thing on like theater family, and I really believe that like the family that develops in in the different shows and the different productions, they are so special and they're so unique. And it's super painful saying goodbye to them. But then again, when you see them again, you kind of just fall right back into that thing. I don't know, that love never goes away. It really is like you bond really fast and pretty deep.
Well, it's
working in theater.
Yeah, it's kind of your job to be emotionally vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah. And you live with them. You basically live with them. Like I remember talking about that with Hand to God, because for Hand to God on our floor, it was Michael Oberholzer and Geneva Carr and I were on one floor. And I always say that. I'm like, oh yeah, that year we shared an apartment. We like literally did. I mean, it's so it is. It's weird when you aren't doing that, when you're not seeing them every day, and the highs and the lows and all the birthdays and the, everything.
Yeah. It's interesting. I imagine backstage, it's actually really tiny too in most theaters.
Yeah, not at here. The Tootsie's huge.
Oh, is it really?
The marquee is so big. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. It's weird, but that's not usual. Yeah, it's very tiny in most Broadway houses.
Yeah. So you're almost on top of each other anyway.
Yeah.
And then going through these emotional experiences. And
I think it's different, like, because I think there's something about, because you're doing the same thing every night too, that you have to find ways of investing in it that are new and fresh. And a lot of that has to do with your backstage life too. Like when you're doing TV and film, you have to do things over and over again in a day or in an hour or two, but then it's over and it's gone. So you bond with those people in some ways. It's like the scene work and stuff, it gets very intimate and very real and very deep, very quick, but then you move on from it. But in theater, it's like you relive it constantly. And it is just as much about your backstage world as it is your onstage world. So like both lives are constantly, so the offstage world's constantly evolving and changing, but the wait, what did I just say? The backstage world. Yeah, but the onstage world is like you have to work to make it new and fresh.
Right.
Does that kind of make sense?
Oh, it makes total sense.
So you bond in like a different way.
Have you ever been in a situation where backstage or offstage, you just like you get totally annoyed with people and you get in a fight and then you have to go and like be in love with them on stage or something?
Well, I mean, that's life. Yeah. Right? Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah.
Do you? Have you? I feel like that's a loaded question. You've got stories.
That's called being married.
Yeah, we're human. We get on each other's nerves, but I don't know. I've been lucky. I've had some. I can't think of a cast that really was hard to be around. I really can't. I've loved all of the people and the experiences that I've gotten.
I've sort of noticed that as the more experienced everyone gets, the more, I guess, the closer towards your high-end professionals. Like in community theater, nothing against community theater, but it's like I've worked with so many people who think they are divas in community theater. Big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
Or like when I was doing regional theater, I would work with these kids who were like straight out of conservatories, who were always the hot shit in their hometown, and they get out in the real world and they're like, "What do you mean I'm not getting the lead? I don't deserve to be in the back." I'm like, "Yeah, everyone has got to eat a little bit of humble pie,
right,
every now and then." But then it is so hard to exist in this city, and exist in the Broadway world, and exist in theater in general. That like, if you've made it to where you are, that you're just like, yeah, this is. We're all normal people. We're all like, we worked our ass off to be here.
Yeah. I think it's like, I have to say this cast in particular, Tootsie, is just so lovely. And I think it's because everyone in the cast is so good at what they do, and the work, the material is so good, and all of us are getting to do what makes us special and unique. So there's confidence in that, and there's really, I think it all comes out of insecurity, right? That's when things start getting weird. Like, so there isn't any of that. Like, everybody's super confident in what they do, and we have deep respect for each other. And so there's none of that. I don't know. There's really isn't any of that weirdness. Nobody's trying to like one up each other or trying to prove themselves because it's all been proven. Everybody gets their laughs and, does great work and we make each other laugh. God, rehearsal was so much fun.
Yeah.
It's crazy town.
Well, I can imagine. I mean, I've seen the show. It made me laugh so hard.
Oh,
It's
good.
like the Robert Horn, he won the Drama Desk Award for Best Book.
Mhm.
Just
and the Tony.
And the Tony, yeah.
Yeah.
Just amazing work. When did you get involved with the project? Like, how long have you been with the show?
I did a reading. So Scott Ellis, I'd never worked with before, and they asked me to do a reading at second stage of a different project, and I really wanted to work with him, and I loved the people involved and thought the project was cool, and so I did that, and it was one of those really quick in and out kind of things, and I took some big swings at like this character that I was playing, which was sort of a wild lady. But it was a very funny piece. And Scott I loved working with him and I could tell he liked working with me too. And at the end of that project, he said, I have something that I think you're really right for. I'm going to be contacting your agents. And I thought, oh, well, okay, whatever. We'll see if that happens. But he did. Like 2 months later, did it take that long? I think it did. Maybe a month, 2 months. He contacted them and said, I want her to do this reading of Tootsie. And they sent me the script. They said, are you interested? I read the script and I was like, oh my God, I know her. I have to play her. It just was this like feeling. She just leapt off of the page. I could hear her immediately. I could see her. And we did the reading, which was just a table read. Again, super fast. They taught me the song, which the first time I heard the song, I just about shit my pants. I was really freaked out.
The Patter song?
I was like, oh God, girl, there's going to be so much stress having to learn this. Yeah, what's going to happen? Learning it and doing it for the first time. I was like, oh my God, I'll never be as nervous as when I have to do this, But it also was so good. I was like, I was very excited. But anyway, so I learned the song and did the table read, and they called very soon after that. It was like a month later. I got a call from my agent and manager. They conference call me whenever I have, either when I've booked something or when I'm fired for something. And I hadn't auditioned for anything because it was like Christmas time. It was, the holidays. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, why are you both calling me? What is going on? And they said, they want to offer you the out of town in Chicago and the Broadway contract. And I went, what are you talking about? I didn't even know it was going out of town. There hadn't been any press on it yet. So I didn't realize it was that close, that all that. And I think I said to them, I was like, are they sure? Because that's like months from now. They want to like look at other people? Like, are they sure they want to commit to me? And they're like, what is wrong with you? You're so Sandy Lester. It's ridiculous. But I got over that real quick and was like, yeah, let's make this happen.
Well, Sandy Lester got you your second Tony nomination.
It did.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Oh, God. I love the character. Sandy is such a neurotic character. It's funny that you said that in the show now, like everyone's secure and everyone's happy.
Oh,
There's no dramas. Like that is Sandy Lester is nothing but insecurity.
But I am very secure in how I play neurotic.
In 1982, the film originally came out, Tootsie, which was 37 years ago. Obviously, a lot of the traditional tropes about gender roles and women specifically have been updated since then. Were you, when you knew that, like, okay, this project is Tootsie, did anything like this run through your mind, or were you like, oh, I want to see how they did it? Because like the Me Too movement is all part of this time frame.
I should say yes, but I'm going to say no. And I think that this is why I'm not, like, I really want to like write and do and create my own content and all those things, but I don't do the big picture thing. I go into roles like, and when I'm reading scripts and when I'm thinking about things, just very singularly focused on what just the character. And to me, the script that I got felt like this is someone that totally lives in this time period, and it didn't feel I didn't see her as a victim. I really didn't. I didn't think she sounded like that, and I think I found her to be actually very brave, even in the writing of it. So, I didn't. God, I got asked about this so much during the whole award season, and I never had good answers. It's hard. I mean, I think Robert Horn did a great job, and David Yazbek and Scott Ellis. They worked really hard. I know Santino and Lily worked very hard to make sure that it felt current and it wasn't offensive, and all of the things that need to be to fit into this era, which is very different.
What kind of audience feedback do you get? Do you get anything at the stage door?
About that specifically?
Well, yeah, specifically, but then I guess more in general, is there, I guess, yeah, start with that. Is there anything specifically about the tropes?
The feedback I get, mostly when people want to talk to me about it, is they just say, oh, I'm so glad that I feel like I'm being represented up there. And I think what I love about that is people really, they see her and see how self-destructive she can be, and neurotic, and she can be totally narcissistic and crazy at times, and insecure and all the things, but she's still completely lovable and succeeds, and never in a lot of ways, not maybe, and she doesn't get the role necessarily, but she doesn't stop. Like she keeps trying, and there's a lot of strength in that. And so I think when people are telling me, man, I can see they are proud to say that. And I like that. You know, like they're like, I feel like that's me, and they have a huge smile on their face. So it's not like, oh man, that's me. Let's all go kill ourselves. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's I don't know, I'm proud of that. But that's mainly what I get at the stage door. Yeah, they don't talk to me as much, but I know Lily gets a lot of that, because Lily has made this very a character that it's very different than it was in the movie. God, I haven't seen the movie in so long.
Me neither.
I didn't want to, because I didn't want Cherry Gar. All I remember is that she's incredible in it, and I watched a couple of clips, and I was like, nope, can't do this, because she's too good, and I don't want. And I know I can't do that. So I don't want to get in my head about it.
Well, you do you, and you were incredible.
Do you, yeah.
You're incredible. Obviously, like, you got the Tony nom, so you are very, very good as well.
No, I feel good. I feel good. I feel like I found my way in to her.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. I enjoy how different each character is.
Yeah, they are, right? Yeah.
Everybody's different. Everybody's unique, and like you said, everybody stands up there, and the relationship between Santino and his roommate, the guy,
Andy.
Yeah, Andy.
Oh my God.
He's just like, whatever, I'm not taking this shit from you.
Oh, it's such a buddy comedy, really. I mean, it's like that's kind of the love story right there. They're like the best couple in the show.
I know. I'm so happy that Sandy ends up with him. Spoiler alert.
I know. Spoiler
alert. But how do you balance all of like you were talking about Billions, or we haven't talked about Billions.
Oh, yeah,
you're on Billions season 4. You're on Get Shorty season 3. Now, and you're still doing Tootsie. Do they let you out of shows to go film? How does that work?
Yeah. So I don't know how I got so lucky, but I'm working with such amazing people on all of these projects, and they have really bent over backwards to make it possible for me to do all of this stuff. So, because originally I was a series regular on Get Shorty. So what that means is they own you, basically. So when we were in negotiations for Tootsie, we weren't sure I was going to be able to do it, because technically I couldn't. But Davey Holmes, who's a showrunner of Get Shorty, the creator, he's always been so supportive of my Broadway life, and that I am a theater baby at heart. And so much so that in season 1, I started off just as the secretary of Ray Romano's character, Rick. And when he found out that what my background was, because he didn't know, he wrote in that I was a singer. And since then, it's totally evolved. And I cannot wait for people to see what happens in season 3. And I cannot spoil it. But if you are a fan of Broadway and of Tootsie, and you're going to freak out. That's all I'm going to say. That sort of really spoils a lot. But it's very exciting what they've done in season 3 with my character. So they let me, he basically gave me his blessing to come and do this project. And then turns out Scott Sanders, who's our producer on Tootsie, is a huge Get Shorty fan. So in return, he's been super gracious and been like, yeah, go off and film when you need to. I mean, they wanted me they started shooting season 3 during the award season. And so I was not available. So this last week they shot, I did all of my scenes for 4 different episodes in 4 days.
Oh.
But that's crazy. Like, nobody does that. Like, they literally waited. They were different directors and different, I mean, I'm so lucky to be working with these people who really just, they want to support the work. So it's been great. And Billions shot this fall, and I wasn't in, which episode was it? My last episode was supposed to be episode 10 because we were just starting rehearsals for Tootsie.
Mm-hmm.
And so, actually it started off when we were in Chicago. So we were in Chicago doing the out of town, and they were flying me to New York to shoot Billions on my day off. And then I was flying back to Chicago and doing, we were doing like tech and like previews. It was actually that was pretty brutal. But then, and then when I got home, we had that hiatus. I shot Billions. And then when Tootsie started back up again, I was supposed to end for episode 10 so that I could just jump back into Tootsie because they really couldn't give me the time off. And then they wanted me for the last episode. And that happened, the scene that they wanted me for happened to be the first day of tech for us at the Marquee.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not in the first the opening number in the first transition, so they let me go and shoot it because they knew they wouldn't get to me that day.
Oh wow!
So like people have been, I mean, my God, I've been so lucky. They've really been working their butts off to make it all happen.
That's nice. I mean, that speaks to your character too. I think to your character as a real person, not your character on stage. That people are so willing to bend over backwards to work for you and make your career work. I think that says a lot.
Thank you. I don't know. I hope so.
So in Get Shorty, and we were talking about this a little bit off mic, that there's a lot of nudity.
Yeah.
In Get Shorty.
Uh-huh.
Were you handed the script and you were like, so by the way, you're gonna be like totally naked?
Yeah, they asked me about it. So that actually wasn't even the first time I got naked. The first time I got naked was in I'm Dying Up Here with Showtime. Did you ever see that show, I'm Dying Up Here?
Mm-mm.
It was Jim Carrey produced it. It was all about stand-up comics. And I played I played Tony the Tiger. That's what they called her. And she was a chuckle fucker, which is a fangirl.
Of comedians.
Yeah, comedians. I didn't even realize that was a real thing. So that was the first time I signed a nudity writer, and I had to do like 3 different really weird sex scenes for that as a guest star. So you just like fly in and you're like, hi, nice to meet you. And here I am, totally naked. But it was such a fun character and it was such a great episode that I was like, yeah, I'm definitely game. I'm definitely going to do it. And then when Get Shorty happened, I don't know. It was such a great moment for my character, and it was totally different than the last one. It was very vulnerable, and it was fully nude, which I hadn't done yet. I had to wear a merkin, which I named Sylvia. Do you know what a merkin
is? Yeah.
My little hairpiece.
Yeah, those who don't, yeah.
My pubic hairpiece. Yeah. And that was interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I won't do the nudity if it's gratuitous, but if it really makes sense and is going to add to the moment. I mean, my agent and manager will hate me saying this, but I'll always take my top off. I'm a hippie baby. Remember?
I was gonna say. I mean, there's got to be some level of of personal comfortability you've got to have and personal confidence.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm so not. Like, if you talk to like my sister or my boyfriend, you'd be like, oh God, I'm constantly like downing my body and all of those things. But there's something about when I get in these women, like these characters that I play, I consider them like, they're like my children. Those are my children, like Gladys and Sandy and Bonnie on Billions. Like, these are women that that I birth and I take care of them and I want to see them shine and I want them in their best light and I want them to feel great about themselves. So it's easy to do that when you're playing somebody else. I mean, Gladys is super confident and is very sexual and very open. And so it didn't feel hard at all to go there with her. I don't know. I think if Sandy had to get naked, that'd be harder. I think she'd have a harder time getting naked.
Yeah.
In front of people.
Right.
Because she feels much more uncomfortable in her own skin.
Yeah.
She grows to feel comfortable, but in the beginning at least, it starts off. I don't know. I guess it's kind of all about that.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm in my own head here. I'm trying to think of what I would do. Yeah, I guess it's part of the character. And I don't remember if someone told me this once or if I read it somewhere, but the most awkward part is taking your clothes off or putting it back on. Once you're either naked or clothed, it's all fine.
Totally. Yeah, the first time, it's weird.
Oh, the first time you get, with somebody you don't really know.
Well, that was easier, actually. Doing the guest star when I didn't know these people. I didn't know the crew. I didn't know the cast. I was just coming in, and I spent 2 weeks working on this episode with them. So I got to know them by the end, but I didn't know them. This time around with Get Shorty, I got naked in episode 8. So I'd already had like 8 episodes to get to know everybody, and we'd been like hanging out a lot in the crew. So that was weirder. That was definitely weirder. But then I don't know. There's something kind of great about it, and I like that. I don't have I don't have a model body. I'm a regular girl. So I like being able to be a regular girl and be like, yeah, I can get naked and I can be sexual and I can be sexy. And, this is what I look like. And yeah, I don't know. I like that.
I like that in general these days. There's a lot of representation across the board. Mm-hmm. We're seeing more gay characters. We're seeing more characters of color. We're seeing more people with your like you said, your normal body, not your model body or the you don't have to go to the gym 8 million times a week to get on TV anymore. So
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I really like that a lot. Do your parents watch those scenes? Like
I made my mom watch I'm Dying Up Here the whole episode with me. And she was like...
with you?
Yeah, because I was so proud of it. And I didn't really think about how weird it was. And if you saw that episode, I mean, that is a weird character. The stuff I did on that, it was kinky and weird. But I was so proud of it. I wanted her to see it. And she... I guess I will just say I didn't watch Get Shorty with her. But they've all seen it and they love it. You know who hasn't seen it? Santino. He won't go past episode 7. He's like, really? I can't do it. Can't do it. He's like, I love the show. Can't do it. Can't do it. You're like my sister. I'm like, fair. I get it.
Wow. Yeah. All right, Santino. Well, good for you.
It's weird. I don't know. I watched it with my boyfriend. I remember that. He kind of watches it with his sort of grin, but like maybe painful grin watching it. And he thinks it's super cool, but then occasionally just like leans in. He'll be like, oh, yeah, you're really going for it in that, aren't you? Like, especially when you have to, it's harder for him to watch them making out. That's weirder. Making out with somebody is like, and honestly, those are the weirder scenes. Those are harder to shoot.
It's personal.
That feels way more personal than just being like naked with someone, like with these weird pieces that you have to wear on your body parts, like so that you're not actually touching each other, but
it's not romantic because there's lights and cameras and so like bizarre. A room of people.
And you're so sweaty and you're just like, oh my God, Kelly is just lasting forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird.
Well,
it's weird.
Well, more power to you.
Yeah, okay, great.
So we'll wrap up here, and at the end of the podcast's episodes here, we ask every guest 3 standard questions.
Okay.
First one, very simply, is what motivates you?
Oh, What motivates me? God, I don't know. It's the love of it. I love the feeling of, I call it being in the pocket and I think that it's a lot to do with the comedy, but like when you're just riding that wave and you are just fully in it. Like there's nothing you can do to get tossed off that surfboard. That feeling is such a rush, and there's been nothing else in my life that has come close to that feeling. I guess I'm an addict. That's what it is. That's my drug. Just that
laughter.
It's laughter. It's the leaning in. You can feel it. You can just feel that energy. And laughter, leaning in, all of it is love. That's what it feels like. It feels like love. So it feeds me, and I keep trying to find different ways to make it happen. Not just for myself, but because you're bringing joy to people. And so to watch people explode in laughter, like I want to do that for people. That's what drives me.
And what advice would you give to your younger self and younger people now listening, starting out down a similar path?
Oh gosh. I mean, it's that thing about just really, really figuring out who you are and embracing that. It's so easy to get caught up in what you should be, or what you should look like, or, making the right decisions. I think it's so important to just exist in the moment. It's the same thing like when you're on stage, the best work you can do is when you're just really present. And that's like that in life. Like you have to find a way to really be okay in the moment. And that will open up all the doors.
And last question then. If you could only see one show for the rest of your life, but you can see it as many times as you want, what would you see?
Is it like a theater show?
Sure.
What is
it? Well, you pick a theater and a non-theater show.
Okay. Well, always Into the Woods comes to my mind because it's just everything. It's so funny. It's so joyful. It's so sad, and it makes you think. It's just, I think it's the most beautiful, beautiful musical. I really do. So I would see that. And then, gosh, I don't know what the other one would be. Like a film or something?
Oh, anything. Or it could be a live show. Do you have a band that you like?
Gosh, I don't know. I don't know that I can even answer that. I think it's too hard to pick one.
Okay. Well, we can find you on Instagram and Twitter at Lulu Bell Stiles. Anywhere else?
No, that's it.
Just
those
the
are
Instas
ones.
and the Twits.
Yeah.
And you can get more of this podcast, more of me at thetheaterpodcast.com. You can also use our short link now, ttp.fm, if you don't know how to spell the theater podcast. So ttp.fm/iTunes/Google Play /anywhere you want to subscribe, and it will forward you to wherever you need to go. You can get me at theater_podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Listen and subscribe, rate and review, spread the word. This is produced by Jillian Hockman, edited by Matthew Hendershot, and of course, thank you to Jukebox the Ghost for the intro and outro music. Sandy shrugs. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Take a deep breath, make the world a little colorful.